Today we have another blessing. I lost my voice. I think it's from the air conditioning because we were working late and I don't normally sound like this, but because Bishop Adonios has been a friend for a lifetime, I felt since RJ could not be with us, he had a little emergency, that it was only appropriate that I introduce Bishop Adonios, because many of you do not know him the way I do. He was offered many, many positions within the Archdiocese from the time when he was a deacon to Archbishop Iakovos, of blessed memory, and from the time he served this church. But he turned everything down for one reason. When his papu became very ill, Bishop Adonios was a little boy, and his parents tried to find a home, an assisted living where they could help the papu. And everyone closed the door and said, sorry, we can't take him. So Bishop Adonios decided to devote his ministry to helping people through the Yerocomio, through the nursing home. So he has become the executive director of St. Michael's Home for many, many years. And he has faithfully provided his service so that the young people, the elderly people, would have a home away from home. And now Bishop Adonios has been confronted with the pandemic, the project of St. Nicholas, which has taken him in a different direction. And because the nursing home must be finished by the end of this year, I have asked Bishop Adonios to come here, not that St. Nicholas or the pandemic or everything has its place and time, but now we need to try to help him. So I've asked Bishop Adonios at the request of His Eminence, because Archbishop Elpidiforos loves the elderly. He visited them during the pandemic and stood outside on Holy Saturday, blessed them, and gave them each some support. Your Eminence, we thank you for that. And now I ask all of you to please turn your attention towards Bishop Adonios and pray for me to get my voice back, okay?
So, good morning, Galomina. Paulette and I do go back more than 40 years when she moved from Logos office to the Archbishop's office. I assumed her position at Logos as a layman in 1984. And then in 1985, I was ordained deacon to Archbishop Iakovos. And since both of our last names were Poulos, everybody thought we were a young married couple. How beautiful, you're serving the Archbishop. It's my great honor and pleasure to be able to speak to this august body this morning, Your Eminence, Chairman Jim Logothetis, Executive Director Paulette. In his epistle, St. Iakovos in chapter 2 says, faith without works is dead. Later on in the same chapter, he says, show me your faith without your works, and I will show you my faith by my works. And for 40 years, Leadership 100 has demonstrated the vibrant faith of our archdiocese and of the organization through the many works that it has supported. And so I congratulate you on this milestone in the history of leadership, and know that you will respond to the exhortation of our Lord, who said, to whom much has been given, much will be expected. And so as you begin the next decade of your life, we look forward to bigger and better things, from glory to glory, in the words of the fathers. I'm here on behalf of St. Michael's to thank all of you for your magnanimous and generous grant in 2022 to the expansion project of the home. It is an exciting chapter in this facility, which was opened in 1958 by Archbishop Michael, who saw the need for the Archdiocese to provide for the elderly members of the community, that first generation who arrived on the shores of this country at the beginning of the 20th century. And so on May 25th of 1958, the doors of St. Michael's opened, named at that time Spiti tou Protoporou, home of the pioneers, because the first residents were the pioneers of our community here, establishing the parishes and institutions and organizations of our community here in the United States. And from that time, it has been a national ministry of our Archdiocese and an institution of the Church, joining her sister institutions, St. Basil's Academy, and of course, Holy Cross. In 1996, July 29th, the retirement of His Eminence Archbishop Iakovos, he assigned me as the director of St. Michael's. I was somewhat young, a commandrite, I think 40. And my friend said to me, "Why do you want to go to St. Michael's?" Other friends teased me because I had served at the school, I had served at St. Basil's as associate director, I had served at the Archdiocese, and they said to me, it's the last institution of the Archdiocese, so you need to complete the circle. But for me, it has been a labor of love to serve St. Michael's, not simply because of the reasons that Paul cited, but as a parish priest, I had a great affinity for the elderly in the community, and I saw the needs that existed. And early on in my tenure at St. Michael's, along with the Board of Trustees, we realized that we needed to expand the facility to respond to the growing needs of the community. Not simply the numbers, but more importantly, the day-to-day needs of these individuals. It is the fastest growing segment of the American population, growing exponentially in comparison to other age groups. And as we know in our community, things have changed. When I was a youngster, a young person didn't move out of his house unless he was getting married. Conversely, when your parents were older, it was expected that you took them into your home and provided them the assistance and the care that they needed. But we know that's no longer a practicality in our society nowadays. First of all, people are living a lot longer. I have one resident at St. Michael's, Kyria Kalliopi, who last September celebrated her 100th birthday. So she's 100, how old are her kids? It's difficult for them to care for themselves, let alone care for their mom. The other reality is that couples are working, so even if they have their parent with them, that person's alone all day long. The other reality, families are scattered, so families are not in one geographical area that they can help take care of their parents. And lastly, notice that the American-born generation of individuals in that age group don't want to live with their children. They don't want to be a burden to them. They want to keep their independence, and a facility like St. Michael's provides them with that ability. Unfortunately, St. Michael's in Yonkers is a small building. Our accommodations are up to 60 residents, but more challenging is the fact that we only have one license from the Department of Health of New York, and so that up till now, whenever a resident has declined because of the aging process and needed additional care, we were obligated by the state and are obligated by the state to transfer them to other facilities. And it is a dramatic change for that individual because they leave a Greek Orthodox environment. They leave the parea of other people, their peers who speak their language in most cases, and are cut off from the community, and most importantly, from the church. And so in 2014, with the Board of Trustees, we purchased a property on Long Island, which has 11 acres and a structure that encompasses over 100,000 square feet. Very quickly, I'm going to show you a video. I didn't know how much time I had. I was supposed to speak during the breakfast. Now I'm speaking now, so please indulge me while we share some critical information. And I want to show you a video that we prepared last March which we prepared to show the magnitude of the undertaking that's going on in Uniondale, New York. Michali?
Hi, my name is Manny Kratsios. We're here at the St. Michael's new facility at 1220 Front Street in Uniondale, Long Island. I am on the Board of Trustees and co-chair on the construction committee together with Nick Zarzalis. We started this process about 5 years ago, and we put a great team together consisting of Slice Architects, a very reputable architectural firm in Manhattan, Pavlak Contracting, who's our construction manager, and the Philbin Group. This is an exciting project. We have a facility here, 3 interconnected buildings, 100,000 square feet, 2 stories, 11 beautiful acres. And our dream is that at the end of this construction, the renovation project, this will include 150 beds. Currently, the facility in Yonkers has about 60 beds. Unfortunately, it's mostly an adult care facility, but this facility that we're renovating right now will basically allow us to do independent living, assisted living, memory care, dementia. So anybody who comes to this facility will be able to join us from the very beginning to the end of their lives.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Nick Zarzalis. I'm on the construction committee for the St. Michael's home development. We're standing basically at one of the entrances to the facility. What you see behind me is a combination of some of the living wings and the chapel in the center. The part of the building on the far right is essentially the main dining area. So essentially up until the large columns there is the main entry foyer. Reception is going to be over here, and behind is where the chapel is going to be. So the first stop after reception is a very large dining area that leads into an exterior dining terrace that's going to be controlled with landscaping and fencing. To the left here is a small private dining room that can be used by visiting families to visit the residents, and they can reserve it for as many hours for parties, get-togethers, whatever they like. So one of the nice amenities that we have in the facility is an area that we're going to call the taverna, and where that pipe is right now is where the fireplace is going to be. Right behind this room is essentially a movie viewing room. So one of the great features of the facility is basically identical interior courtyards where we were able to save the existing trees and build a beautiful garden around it. So behind the chapel, which is to my left, is a 2-story space that's going to be the assisted living community room. On that wall over there, once the wall is built, there'll be a fireplace for the community room, and behind it will be a library. The area we're in right now is the assisted living wing, the east wing of assisted living. So I'm walking into a 2-bed unit, studio unit in the assisted living wing. We have the bathroom on the left side that's going to be shared, and each person gets their own closet. There'll be a little kitchenette off to the left, and basically side-by-side bedrooms with a view to the rear yard. Here I'm walking into one of the independent living suites. Essentially, they're 1-bedroom units. The kitchen on the right, leading to an open living dining area, and a bedroom off to the left with a full bathroom. and a private closet. On the east side of the second floor, there's another row of independent living units, and this is a better look at the terraces. Each one of these separations is going to have a fence on it, so essentially everybody has privacy in their own, for their own terrace. So this open area here is essentially it's reserved for the memory care facility. It's an outdoor terrace that's going to have a beautiful pergola and obviously a great view. So the spring of 2024 is our potential completion date. We've got work to do, as you can see. There's a lot of finished work to do, and we're going to need your help to do it. It'll make this dream a reality.
So as I said, that video was created in March of last year. As of this date, the exterior has been completed 100%. Windows, doors, new brick facade has all been installed, and the project is about 70% completed. When we set out on this journey, we projected that the cost of this project would be about $48 million. But unfortunately, as Paulette mentioned, early on, which after we purchased the property in 2014, we put it on hold because the fundraising was going on for St. Nicholas and we didn't want to compete. And then there were other undertakings going on. But finally, in 2017, we couldn't wait any longer and we kicked off our capital campaign. Thanks be to God, we've had a very generous response for the community. We have right now, as of today, about $41 million in pledges, most of which have been fulfilled. But the issue is that not only were we hit by a pandemic, which stopped our fundraising, and a little footnote there, we're very thankful that during the pandemic we did not lose any residents to COVID. Which I think is a testimony to the care we offer our elderly. As I like to remind people, we're not a business. We're a ministry of the church, and the important thing for us is not the bottom line on some financial statement, but rather the well-being of our residents. And unfortunately, then we were hit with inflation, which added about 20% to the cost of the project, so we're now at about $55 million to complete the project. We have a construction loan in place for the last $10 million to bring the project to completion, as I said. And our challenge right now is to raise the funding gap between what we have now and what we need to be able to access the construction loan. And before I continue, let me just show you, and on your tables are some renderings of what the new facility is going to look like. As I said, the exterior is completed. And Michael, can you go back to that previous? Okay. Currently, the facility appears just as it does in the architectural rendering, except for the landscaping. We have a magnificent mosaic over the main entrance of the facility of the Archangel, which sets the tone for the type of facility that we're going to be, a faith-based facility. And it's important for us as we believe the Archangel has been a protector of the institution for all these years, especially during the pandemic. You can continue, Michael, with the renderings. This is the front lobby. As somebody sitting, Mr. Charles said next to me, it looks like the lobby of the Ritz-Carlton. Our priority here has been to build the best facility we can because our seniors don't deserve anything less than the best that our community can offer. There's another view of the lobby with a front facade with the windows that allow a lot of light. The beautiful thing about this facility, there are a lot of windows and a lot of light, which is important to the well-being of residents. This, of course, is the chapel, which is in the middle of the building complex. All of the appointments will be moved from our chapel in Yonkers. So the stained glass, the iconostasios, the icons, the wall icons are all presently in Yonkers at our facility and will be moved to the new one. This is just simply one of the corridors. This is the community, two-story community lounge with the fireplace and an area where all the residents can gather, one of the many spaces in the new facility. This is one of the lounges. This looks like, it's kind of hard with this speaker in the way, but it looks like it's the taverna. It's going to be an area where our residents in the afternoon can go and have a cocktail. Inon efreni kardian anthropo. Wine gladdens the hearts of men, says the Old Testament. So we want our residents to enjoy life. This is the gaffinio, where they'll be able to go and have coffee and enjoy each other's company. This is the movie room, where we'll be able to gather residents and show different films and movies and other entertainment. This is the main dining room, where most of our residents will gather. There's going to be a separate dining room in the memory care wing. And this is the memory care terrace that Nick in the video kind of highlighted. This is our memory care is going to be on the second floor, and we thought it was important to include some outdoor space. And so this is going to be the outdoor memory care terrace garden. Except for once again, except for the landscaping, everything has been completed for that space. So you have a vision of an understanding of what is envisioned in this new facility. And as I said, we have a funding gap that we need to bridge so that we can access the construction loan. And once we access the construction loan, we will complete the project in 6 to 8 months. Nick kind of pointed out that we were hoping to complete it this year, but depending on our ability to raise the funding gap, we hopefully will open it in 2025, but that depends on the generosity of the community. You know, that old Greek expression, fasouli, fasouli, gemizi to sakouli. Those of you who know Greek should explain to the ones who don't next to you what that expression says. Every bit counts, and we've been very fortunate. We've had major gifts, such as the $15 million grant from the Niarchos Foundation, which is an expression of their appreciation for the mission of the facility, but more importantly, I believe their confidence in the St. Michael's team to finish this project. And I'm very blessed that I have a great board of trustees. Some of them are members of Leadership 100. We have Lily Kados, Spiro Dongaris, I believe is here, Father John Lardis. Everyone brings a different talent and expertise to the table, and working together, we are determined to bring this project across the finish line, because as I said, we should consider it dropi as a community that we haven't been more proactive in providing options for our seniors. Yonkers isn't a Jewish neighborhood. It's a borderline of Riverdale and Yonkers, anyone who knows New York. In walking distance from St. Michael's, there are 2 Jewish nursing facilities. And imagine how many more in the tri-state area. In the United States, unfortunately, this is the only institution that is part of the Archdiocese. And fortunately, because of the foresight of some organizations, there's the Hellenic Rehabilitation Center in Chicago and the Hellenic facility in Massachusetts. But I know it's the Archbishop's hope that we can become a prototype once we complete our facility for other metropolises to recreate what we're creating in Uniondale, perhaps at a lower scale based on their needs. But we can assist in that endeavor. And so I want to thank you for your attention this morning. My last thing that I always share in these presentations is another Greek expression. Εκεί που είσαι, ήμωνα. Εδώ που είμαι, θα είσαι. There where you are, I was once. Here where I am, you may one day be. None of my residents in St. Michael's ever expected that they would end up in a facility. But I can assure you they're very glad that there's a place like St. Michael's right now in Yonkers, and they look forward to the day when they'll be transferred to the new facility in Uniondale, New York. So I want to thank you all very much. I look forward to opening the facility, and I know the Archbishop has been most supportive, and I have to express the appreciation of my Board of Trustees, not simply for his support of the project, but in very tangible expressions of that support with distributions from the budget of the Archdiocese towards the facility. And so that encourages us that we have a partner as His Eminence who understands the importance of the project and is helping us to accomplish that goal. Right now, I'm working on the signage on the pylons that'll be at the entrance of the facility. And for me, it's a personal, I don't know how to, on the signage, not only will be the home of the facility, not only its address, but at the bottom will be Greek Orthodox Archdiocese of America. Because we need to be proud of this facility and that our church is doing this and having its institutions like the other faith communities in our nations. And with that, thank you very much.
Your Eminence, Archbishop Adonios, Your Graces, Reverend Clergy, Leadership 100 family. Good morning. Taking care of the clergy that takes care of us is an important ministry of our church. Here this morning to talk a little bit about one of the ministries that our Archdiocese makes available to our clergy is Dr. George Koulianos. Dr. George is a very active leader in his home parish of St. Athanasios in the great state of Alabama. He's very active in the metropolis of Atlanta, and he's also very active with our Archdiocese as the Assistant Director of the Clergy Family Initiative. Dr. George.
Good morning. Thank you very much. I've been told I have 10 minutes and there is a hook. The Clergy Family Initiative was established in 2017. On the website, you will find an icon of Christ the Good Shepherd. How many of us in our lives at some point have needed a shepherd to carry us? It happens more times than we can count. Quite often, that shepherd is your parish priest. And the question becomes, who carries the priest when they have a need? And that need is critical. Okay, it is not cooperating. Let's see here. The Clergy Family Initiative is a database program that starts from the bottom up. It is established at St. Basil Academy under the leadership of Father Kostas Soteris and the steering committee. We do grassroots research, figure out what our clergy and our presbyteros need, and create appropriate programming. Our data set is sufficiently powered to be statistically significant. The numbers speak for themselves. The data speaks for itself. We've underestimated the challenges that our clergy and their families face. The net effect is we've created, unintentionally, a culture of silence and shame. Clergy are too busy taking care of us to really bother to care for themselves sometimes. By the time the problem manifests itself, it becomes so acute that it's far down the continuum and intervention becomes a challenge. It's so important to start at the beginning. The Lilly Endowment has a 35,000-foot view of all of Christianity, and they've empowered us with money to create data sets that show that we are no different than any other denomination in the country. Our clergy suffer the same challenges. In addition, we have a presbytera data set that shows that the life of a presbytera can be lonely. Picture yourself as a presbytera sometimes being on an island in the South Pacific. Because sometimes that's how it is. Now, we're not Tom Hanks in his famous movie. These are our brothers and sisters. Depression, loneliness, the financial uncertainty that sometimes comes with ministry contribute and exacerbate all of these challenges. Our clergy work day and night for us. Many of them don't even take vacations. Our presbyteros sometimes need their proestamenos, their priest, at home. But they're always working. And that makes their life a little more lonely. We've underappreciated this data. It is real, it is statistically valid, and we need to change this paradigm. And that is what the Clergy Family Initiative does. On behalf of the clergy in this room, and all of the clergy in the archdiocese, and the clergy that the Clergy Family Initiative has worked with, I thank all of you for your support. Without you, we don't have a church. Without our clergy, we don't have a church. And the fundamental building block of a vibrant, healthy, salvific church is a healthy clergyman and a healthy clergy family. It is the fundamental rock that our churches are built on. I thank Leadership 100 for your generosity. I thank many of you in this room from the bottom of our hearts on behalf of all the clergy for what you've done. Your work is salvific. Before we could start, we had to know where we were. When we collected these data sets, which we've done for several years now, you will see that above and beyond what the Clergy Family Initiative is doing, on average, we spend about $1 million a year across all of the ministries in the church to assist clergy, and on average about $1.5 million for seminarian assistance. And what's amazing is that's a drop in the bucket in terms of what we need. The Clergy Family Initiative is gaining traction, and I'd like to commend and thank, on behalf of all of the clergy, the Archdiocese, Your Eminence, National Philippichos, the National Sisterhood of Presbyteros, who are highlighted in red, along with the metropolis of Pittsburgh, San Francisco, Boston, who've all recognized the call and have increased their funding to assist clergy and seminarians. We forget what an impact debt has on emotional well-being. It is interconnected. It's been proven over and over again, not only for clergy, but for all of us in this room. The Clergy Family Initiative has done over 44 presentations across the entire country to everyone that'll listen, to over 2,200 unique individuals. So what do? Clergy fill out some fundamental financial information so we can get a baseline. They complete the Dave Ramsey program. It's a 9-week program. They enroll in a financial planning program. They receive private mentoring from one of the great priests in our country, Father Adonios, along with Father Kostas Soteris. They complete the program, and they receive $10,000 in a grant that goes to whatever debt agency they have to alleviate their debt. To many of you in this room, $10,000 doesn't mean much. But the letters we receive of thanks for the $10,000 that clergy have received make the hair on the back of your neck stand on end, and you feel embarrassed that you only gave $10,000. 137 clergy have enrolled in the program. 104 have completed the program in its entirety and received grants to the tune of about $1 million. An additional 20 didn't even need a grant. Just doing Ramsey and Peach the Planner is all they needed to get their finances in order. We also have an additional 27 clergy who are enrolled that we need to award grants to. The majority of the debt goes for either student debt or a combination of student and credit card debt. Through the generosity of Leadership 100, it makes all of us proud that we support the tuition component of seminary education. But many of our clergy have living expenses, they have children, and they borrow money above and beyond just to make it through seminary. For every dollar that one of our clergy have received in grant, they've reduced their debt by an additional $1.15. And on our data sets that are a prolonged period of time where we've surveyed our recipients after several years, we see that their debt goes down longer. In other words, it goes down more. We've also seen that the program has had an impact, because look at everything that they've been able to accomplish in terms of savings, investments, on and on, preparing to take care of their families after retirement. What's unfortunate, according to our respondents from our post-survey program completion data set, is half of clergy are paid below the archdiocesan scale. And that's on us. In addition, we've created a whole set of programs for our presbyteros that include financial well-being, personal well-being, just the challenges that presbyteros face, peer learning groups directed by a trained peer advisor through the Center for Family Care, and the Dave Ramsey program is opened up along with the financial planning program to our presbyteros. When it's all said and done, the Clergy Family Initiative has touched 42% of all clergy families in this archdiocese. 42%. In addition, a widowed presbytera and her children have established an endowment of $200,000. Many others have donated to it. It has grown to $289,000. We need to get it to $5 million. I'm not here to ask you for $5 million. I'm only here to ask you to take care of your priest. The rest will take care of itself. And that would allow us to continue our Ministerial Excellence Fund work and allow these financial literacy programs to continue throughout a clergyman's life, from seminary all the way on, and even their families. The program is established under the Archdiocesan Benefits Committee. So it's clergy helping clergy, and helps break that cycle of silence and shame, and creates a safe space for our clergy to come when they're in need, where we can be the good shepherd. The testimonials speak for themselves. We have hundreds, literally hundreds, that are just as touching as this one. And I've highlighted in red the common themes. The first is the feeling of regret and shame that they even have to ask for a grant. The second is how thankful they are that the Archdiocese cares enough to have this program for them. How they've all donated their lives to Christ's service. And how they know that we have their back, just like they have ours. I thank you. I hope I'm within the 10 minutes and we haven't used the hook.